Good evening. I'm Selwyn Collins, your host of CWS Conversations with Selwyn. Thank you for joining us once again. And those of you who are joining us for the first time, a very special thank you. Tonight, I anticipate a very packed show, lots of questions, very exciting and informative conversation. So I'm not going to spend too much time with my preamble, but to be in integrity with the show and to enlighten our new audience, um, let me just take a moment to tell you a bit about CWS. CWS is about having conversations with people about their journeys. How are they using their gifts and talents to help others? How are they contributing in a positive way to humanity? So, with that said, I'm always looking for, someone who is doing something extraordinary or doing things extraordinarily well. It's not just about having someone with lots of titles behind their names or someone who is very sophisticated. I think that each and every one of us has a story to tell. And what is most important to me is the message that those stories convey. If it's a message of perseverance, especially when one talks about how they might have overcome a challenge, and how if that challenge, if that story can inspire and help to transform another person, especially a young person, that to me means success. That to me means that CWS is doing its job. So, without much more preamble, I want to say again to you, thank you very much. But before I go for on a break, I wanted to say one thing to you, ideas. I keep talking about this every time I come on the show. It is very important to believe in yourself, to believe in your ideas. And there are times when you are going to be challenged by your own fears, your own doubts, your own insecurities. Make sure you have someone or a few people that are very close to you who believe in you and who can push you, because you have no idea what the fulfillment of an idea can do, not only to yourself but to humanity. This medium through which we are communicating here tonight is because someone had an idea and had the courage to pursue it. The gentleman, Steele, that I'm going to introduce to you when the show, after the break, is someone who I strongly believe never give up. And one of the things he mentioned on I put on his ad is that in spite of the challenges, overcoming obstacles. He has a song called "Jah is My Strength," and I can't wait to hear him talk about that, how important it is to find a source of strength and to persevere. So I'll take a break, and when I return, I'll introduce you to Steele.
You're the God that I serve. So even though the roads get rocky and the way seems sticky sometimes, yeah, yeah, yeah. You're my God. We ain't freak alongside the man called Steve. Now Things aren't over, bright, and it's here I say, yeah. Still not making. You say work and pray hard, you will get the reward. We're still waiting. Things aren't over, bright, and it's here I say, yeah. Still not making.
Working very hard as a survivor. We find every trick in a day book like MacGyver. But I know things safe and one so forever. So make them never walk out them out with your power. Aye, now we know you love us and we know that you care. We don't want to be pushy but we need you around here. Mankind not got no soul so they acting a fool. Blood in the streets could have full up a pole. But I one stick a lightning with a thunderball. Would have caused wicked nothing and ways to fall. They all turn away from your glory. Everywhere you walk another person a worry. Still
It's a new world that you order. I really wanna know to see if it's so things ain't better. No better than before. Is this a new world that you order? I really wanna know as if it's so things ain't better. No better than before. Is this the new world that you order?
Break. Let's take a quick break.
All right, bro.
I'm so in love with you. Whatever you want to do is alright with me. You make me feel so brand new. And I want to spend my whole life with you. We said it since, baby, since we've been together. Yes, loving you forever is what I need. Let me be the one you come running to. And I'll never be untrue. Baby, let's stay together. Loving you whether times are good or bad. Help me you say. Yeah. Whether times are good or bad.
We are back. And those of you who are joining us for the first time, I'm Selwyn Collins, your host of CWS. The gentleman next to me is Steele. Steele, good evening, sir.
Greetings, Alvin. How you doing, man?
I am fine. How are you?
Can't complain. It's getting cold, but it's not too cold yet in Canada. So
Well, let's hope this conversation warms things up a little bit tonight.
there you go. How's things in your part of the woods, man?
Well, it's a cold, but you know this is New York, and we are accustomed to this. We are prepared for it, so I'm not too worried about that.
Ah, I hear you. I hear you. Makes sense. Makes sense. Well, I'm in Canada, so Canada. People say it's one of the coldest places on earth. I tend not to believe them, but after such a long time, I've warmed up to it. So It's all good, my brother.
Wonderful. I am going to try something a little different tonight. I got your bio and it's extensive, and I feel that if I read it, it might just take away a little bit from what we have to say in our conversation.
Right.
I can start off by saying that many awards have been bestowed upon you, and you've done great things. Being on stage with the likes of Rita Marley and all these big artists and so on. So I want to start off by just saying congratulations for being awarded the Force Irie Music Award for Male Artist of the Year 2011, and for being nominated for your second Juno Award in 2012.
Right.
For those of us not familiar with those awards, can you describe for us what they mean?
Well, I'll tell you something, but I'm going to be quite honest with you, Salvin, and I'm glad that you actually started out like this, because one of the things that I've expressed over the years, one of the things that I've always firmly believed in is that, while it's good to be recognized as far as being given these awards and all that stuff, I feel more blessed, the virgin, and I feel more comfort in my soul when even one person walk up to me and even say to me, Steele, I love the message, I love the inspiration that I get from the music. When saying so, I mean, I am still grateful for being recognized, like I said before, but awards I've never really given, the highest priority to. And there's reason for that. And, I guarantee you, once we're finished tonight, a lot of my fans and you fans and a lot of people know more about Steele, and be surprised for a lot of elements that, that I'll talk about. But as far as these awards, well, the Juno Award, let's start with the Junos, because Juno is Canada's version, of the Grammys as far as the awards is concerned. So when you are nominated for a Juno, you're thrust in a category, or in a limelight that's saying, or you're supposed to be thrust in a limelight that's saying you're being awarded for something on the same level as, the American Grammys. All
Oh,
right. So being nominated twice for that, again, I accept it. And, again, there's a lot of elements to that, my brethren. And again, we're gonna dive into that a little bit further. The Irie Reggae Music, the Irie Awards, another award that I've won. Again, it's a body again that does tremendous work here in the city. They run a whole bunch of festivals, and people from the community support them extensively. There's just recently again I won the Best Performer Award in Canada, and again that was handed to me by another society who again love the vibes, love the work that I continue to do. But I can tell you, up to today, with all these awards that has been bestowed upon me, the one that I find still, tends to be the closest to my heart is the People's Choice Award that was given to me by the Jamaica Day Committee. And that's an organization and a company that's been in existence for over 25 years. And I remember, being on the stage again, one of the many shows that I do here, in front of a great audience, celebrating, again, it was on Jamaica commemoration, the Independence Day. So I was on stage and I was greatly surprised when I was bestowed with the People's Choice Award. And the overwhelming response meant much more to me, the brethren, and that's an award that I continue to cherish. All the other awards I appreciate, but and I'm not saying they're not important, because I've had conversations with your friend and my friend, and he keeps saying, man, don't play them down. I'm not trying to play them down. Bridget, it's more, like I said to you, the people, to me, it's more important than, a set of people sitting in a room and deciding, who they're going to hand a plaque or, and I'm not trying to play this down, but that's, the big picture is, my Bridget, you can have, and I talk about this, you can have as much award as on your wall as possible. If the people are not feeling you, then it doesn't mean much. It's an award and it's great to be recognized and whatever, and it looks good on a bio and in a resume, but the truth of the matter is I am glad and I'm proud to know that I have the love of the people behind me, my brethren. So
wonderful. So
yeah.
so tell me about your four steps in music.
Well, My actual first step started off in Jamaica because I'm a little country boy in Salwin. Yeah, but I'm from a parish called Hanover, small town called Lucy.
Uh-huh.
One way in, one way out. We used to call it because Lucy is a place in Jamaica. As you step into Lucy, it's almost like the whole town know that you're there. It was that small, but that's where I grew up and being influenced just like so much Caribbean. It's our culture, Caribbean, people, being influenced by the church and the spirituality. So my whole beginnings in music started off again when my mother and my father was a part of the church choir and I got involved as a drummer. Not even I didn't even start out as a singer. I actually started out as a drummer, and doing harmony singing for a lot of different artists that would visit the church. I would be playing the drums and singing harmony, until I guess in my own little way got discovered in the church and starting our own little gospel band and just singing spiritual songs, and it has just escalated and escalated, and that's kind of where it started. It got better and it got bigger when I now left out of Lucy and I actually started to go after 2 years in Russie's in Lucy, went to high school again in Montego Bay, hooked up with some guys in the high school there, formed a band called the Mystic Force, dive into reggae music, unbeknownst to my parents, of course. And that I've seen it grown and grown. I remember my first song actually was, all of the love by Ear Supply. And I saw the way the ladies reacted, my brethren, so I knew I was on the right track. So, and after leaving high school, I decided that look, I really want to take this even more serious. But before I even did that, I actually went to college for a year, and one of the things that I wanted to do before I even pursued my music any further is to make sure, because my mother, especially my parents, but my mother, so to speak, had made a great financial sacrifice for me. So I wanted to make sure that before I left high school or on leaving high school, I had a piece of paper to show that, your son is not no fool. He's also an educated youth.
I'm
So
glad you brought it up.
yeah,
Did your parents, seeing that they were in the choir and they sang in the choir? I mean, I guess it's safe to call them musicians. Did they encourage or nudge you into music, or did you develop an attraction for it on your own?
no man, I think the whole attraction, came, and I can't lie to you. When you're in church, what I mean, you're singing a particular song, so it's all about spirituality. I think the whole development, so to speak, happened when I went to Herbert Martin in Montego Bay.
Hmm.
And once I got around, because that's a very musical school, there was a good music program there that, and even though I wasn't taking music as a theory, once I got in the band and started to enjoy the vibes, and to be honest, Virgin, once I sang All of the Love, Ear Supply, and I saw, and I'm not even gonna lie, it's cheap, it's the truth. Once I got that reaction from the girls, brethren, you know, I think that was my calling right there, because I went back in the days, Bridget. You're not thinking about nothing else. You're not thinking about money. You're not thinking about career. You're thinking about, wow, if I can attract some ladies by just the way I sound, that was just enough to get me more involved with it, Bridget.
Who were the musicians you admired growing up?
Well, I mean, around me in Jamaica, obviously, I grew up listening to different elements. You know what I mean?
Uh
Bob Marley, obviously, his conscious element was always there. His world of music talk about love and unity.
huh.
Then you have Peter Touch, which was called the so-called, and I say so-called controversial artist because his lyrical content again was so potent, and you either loved him or you hate him, but he spoke what was mine, and that was great for me. Believe it or not, Max Priest was also a great influence on me because at that time, growing up, I always admired the charisma that Max Priest had when he dealt even live performances. Then you also talk about Lionel Richie.
Hmm.
Lionel Richie again came on to his lyrical content and his relationship with the ladies bridging, so those things really, really influenced me growing up. And, I don't think I've strayed too far from it.
Are you the only boy, only child?
Me family, no man, there's 14 of us. Yo, you keep forgetting I'm Jamaican, man. There's a whole bunch of us.
I guess I was trying to find a way around, find a way to ask you how many sisters you had to see
But I tell
where
you
this
something.
love affair and passion for women came from. Because I have six sisters.
Oh, you got six.
Yes, I got six sisters. Right.
Well, if it serves me right, I think I have five now, and and I don't want to sound vague, but the five I can truly remember just because they came around me. But I've heard rumors, Bridget. I've heard rumors. So, but let's stick with the five sisters for now, and the rest are brothers. But I've heard rumors. You know what I'm saying? And I've been on the street and I've seen people that kind of look like me, but I've never questioned it. So,
Steele, do you remember your first introduction to reggae music?
well, I tell you something. Again, it started at Herbert Morrison,
Okay.
but I think it really, really got off when I graduated, and I graduated from high school. I graduated from post-secondary education school. It was community college in Montego Bay, and I went to Kingston. And in Kingston, I was living on Delamere Avenue, Walton Park. You know what I mean? And somebody, on the street, unbeknownst to me, was and he's still very popular, Tristan Palmer. You know? And somebody took me and introduced me to Tristan Palmer, and I still remember like yesterday, my virgin. Tristan Palmer was coming down the street, and I remember this virgin of mine called him and said, Tristan, this country youth say him can't sing. Because I just come from Moby, just come from Lucy. Tristan jumped up on the wall and said, yeah, you can't sing, sing. And, I started to sing, my brethren. And I tell you, I started to sing. And the song was Ribbon in the Sky. The Stevie Wonder, Ribbon in the Sky. And that particular night, we were in Togang recording Ribbon in the Sky as a reggae track.
Wow.
So that was my first big push. And that was actually my first recording. As far as the reggae recording was concerned, that's actually my first recording. It was for Tristan Palmer, and it was the song Ribbon in the Sky. Still can't find a copy of it, but I know I recorded it for him.
So, when did you first start singing professionally? Can you remember?
Well, I professionally, to me, means when you start make money.
Okay, okay.
Because, I mean, to me, once you leave out your bathroom and start going on stage, then you're doing something different. So most of my career development, I can honestly say has happened, first and foremost, again, after, and I go back just a little bit before I came to Canada. Once I did that first recording for Tristan and living in Delaware, Walton Park, if a lot of people are familiar with it, it's what we consider to be ghetto area. So in terms of, it wasn't necessarily the safest place. And I found myself drifting into different things, Virgin, that, wasn't necessarily the best part. So, after I did the recording and stuff and hang around for a while, I got a call from a good friend of mine, Benji Myers, that, he called me from Montego Bay and he says, T, why don't you come back to Montego Bay, because there's a group in Montego Bay looking for a lead singer. I went back to Montego Bay and I started singing with a group called Cotton Candy. Believe me, Cotton Candy, a group of 4 guys. That those days we had the moves down like the Spinners and everything, but we actually started singing in the hotels. You know what I mean? So we started out in the hotel circuit, and I really started making some money. And a couple of the entertainment managers from a couple of the resorts really liked what what the group had to offer. But even on top of that, they what I had to offer as a solo act, and they took me on as a solo artist. So I started singing professionally in the hotels as a solo artist. But again, soon after that started really to develop. Then I had to make the choice to migrate to Canada here, and that was a whole different ball game, right?
Now that you brought that up, right?
Yeah.
At the time, what impressed you mostly about Canada, and what was different compared to Jamaica when you first arrived?
Well, first and foremost, I mean, the place was clean, that's for sure. And I remember coming to Canada in January, February, March, and I think the winter was just trying to die down. It was starting to die down, and I came off, and within in the airport it's all warm and everything. But Bridget, I remember stepping out of the airport, and you know that piece of the coldness that hit me, Bridget. That alone just said, "Wow, this is a different country entirely." But I was, after a while being here for sure, I started to get very impressed, with just the organization of the whole place. I remember waiting for the bus, and not having to jump over people's head to actually go on the bus, which used to. I remember people lining up in lines. One of the things that impressed me the most was they had the containers on the side of the street that actually that you buy your newspaper, and I remember seeing people actually putting in their money and taking out one paper. Now in Jamaica, I'm looking at this as a business opportunity as far as us taking out 20 papers and selling them. You know what I mean? But so that kind of greatly just say, wow, this is a great place. Then, once I got into more and more, I heard about just the whole healthcare benefits and everything, Reg, and I'm like, yo, this is a good place to be.
I want to go to the chat room. I remember mentioning to you that we have a chat room.
Right.
And in the chat room, Rita said, "Hail up, brethren. I like your vibe."
Yeah.
Esther said, "I'm enjoying this. I have never heard Selwyn laugh so much. Laugh out loud. Thanks, Steele. You seem to be quite a ladies' man, too." And
Oh,
DSACCB said, "Are there any YouTube productions? I'm searching." DSCCB, yes, there are. And Carol said, "What is your fondest memory of your childhood?"
wow. I'll tell you. Let me deal with this one. As Selwyn, people seem to laugh a lot of time the stories I tell, and I tell people all the while. I try to keep a straight face, but they're all true stories. So if they make you laugh, it's more power. And I'm glad that your people in the chat rooms really enjoying the vibe as far as that's concerned. So but sometimes there are serious stories, and I can tell you a lot more that would make you die or crack up, as we say. You know what I mean? Make you crack up. Now, as far as YouTube, if you go on YouTube, and you can always just put in Mark Steele. I guarantee you'll find some songs. If you put in Steele Mobs, you'll find some songs also. Or even better yet, my latest recording, but the video that I just shot, which is She Believes in Me. So if you go on YouTube and put Steele, She Believes in Me, you can watch the video, but it will give you a hyperlink to Mark Steele, which will also bring up the materials that I've done. Now, as far as the best memory, brethren, I remember that because that meant so. It was Christmas time, and in my house, my brethren, I can tell you, if you were good for the year of 6 months are coming up, if your report card was good, you'll be entitled to the biggest piece of chicken. And this is no joke. And I can tell you from July, and we went back to school. And this was primary school. This wasn't even high school. We started because me and my brother and my sister, the ones that lived with us, were very tight. But we would always compete as far as trying to get the best grades in school, because come Christmas, we had a choice of picking the biggest piece of chicken, and that with rice and peas and sorrel and carrot juice and all. And I remember that like yesterday, Bridget. We also had the chance, Bridget, to get some pocket money, because right around Christmas we could go in the town. John Kuno would come, and we get to spend with money. So, but I always make sure that I try to do my best, because I remember, in my house, a father run things, so father always get the best piece of the meat. You know what I mean? But Christmas time, everybody compromised, and that was the big thing for us, because we didn't grow up with money. We weren't rich people. We're not. I wouldn't say we were poor, but we weren't great off. We were modest people. So that stayed in my mind, Virgin, because I had to make sure I buckle down on the school books to get the nice piece of chicken.
So the chicken was the incentive, huh?
Huh?
The chicken was the incentive.
Big incentive, Selwyn. if you're used to getting chicken wings, because the children get the chicken wing and the back attack, the father get the breast and the thigh and all that stuff. So, so if you have a chance, what you want, Bridget, you're going to work for it because you get some money.
Hey, Steele,
So,
I still have a reputation to maintain on this show.
see, again, it's all true, my Bridget. You work for what you want. So I've always developed that mentality, Bridget. Anything you want, well, you have to work hard for it, but even if it means the biggest piece of chicken.
So I guess you had your training from childhood and why you were so very successful and professional in what you do today.
Well, I have always learned, my Bridget, and again, we know that, and we have the same. We not born with gold spoon in our mouth. We understood from an early age, if we don't have it, you know what I mean, we're not going to steal for it. To get it, we have to work towards it, and it just created a certain amount of discipline,
Right,
and
right.
that has influenced me throughout all my life, my Bridget.
I'm gonna ask you for technical help here.
Yeah.
Can you either lean back just a little bit?
All right.
Not right. Let me see something. Yeah, because good. I want to. Yeah, wonderful.
All right.
Um, you've lived many years and have accomplished much in music in Canada and so on.
Yeah.
Looking back to when you just arrived, what is different?
Well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you something, Selwyn. And this is one of the stories that you know I don't really talk about it, but because I know that it's not a big issue now, and I guarantee you, there's many other people, not just living in Canada, but globally, who has actually gone through this. I remember, Selwyn, I can tell you right now, one of the major reasons for me staying in Canada,
Mm-hmm.
was the birth of my firstborn. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and because when I just came to Canada originally, I had no intention of staying, but at the time, the lady that I was with then was pregnant, and when I came here and saw, what was happening in terms of the fact that nobody actually gave you nothing, you had to take care of yourself. There is no way that I could have left and gone back to
Mm-hmm.
Jamaica and just left her here on her own. So I made a decision to stay. Now, so I got into visa issues, and I can talk about it now because now I'm good. But I got into visa issues which I overstayed, and I know there's a lot of people, Virgin, who have gone through that. And one of the things, I guess, one of the most motivating factor for me, my Virgin, going through that time, and what people say, them living under the table, working under the table. I have done all of that. I've done all of that, my brethren. So when I meet people who, go through the same thing, it's not even a surprise because I can share my story. But one of the things that kept me motivated, because there's a lot of people here who goes through that or have been through that or still going through that kind of situation, my brethren, where them live in so much fear, and it's understandable. And one of my greatest motivation during that time period was I always said to myself that, listen, one thing I can honestly say, where I was coming from, which was Jamaica, I didn't have a fundamental issue or a rights issue on everything. So that was my motivating factor that kept me going for 5 years until things got worked out. But I learned that, again, within that time period, ways and means to survive. And I also learned that if you are around good people, that means you well, my brethren.
Yeah.
People will protect you.
Yeah.
So I met some good people in that time, my brethren, and I have to still say thanks to a lot of people who looked out for me and protected me. And now I'm fine. So, but it really made me understand more, brethren, and grow up even more as a man.
But let me just go to the chat room.
Yeah.
St. Lucia Summer Property said, I will ask rather, how did you integrate yourself in the new culture, and have you ever been discriminated? If so, how did you handle that?
Well, as far as the culture, I mean, I've been living in Toronto now for a while. Very multicultural living place, very multicultural place. So I mean, I have always love myself first.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always said, if you love yourself, then you can't worry about somebody else loving you.
Mm.
That is the love factor has to start with you as a person. As far as discrimination, you know, I mean, one of the good thing about this country, I don't know if I should say it's a good thing, but one of the things about this country is, Canada is good at disguising stuff. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and when I say that, it means they Canada is good at creating this atmosphere that everything is nice and good. But I guarantee you, my brethren, a lot of times I have faced it, with situations, even with this music thing. I've been on the journey because I have, look, I have applied for grants, paperwork great, everything great. You know what I mean? Nothing happened. I have, again, I have faced it, Bridget, but what the good thing about me has always been, my Bridget, I've always learned to love myself first, while understanding that don't expect because it is promoted that everything is nice. It's the way it is. I've always just learned that I have to just love myself first, show love to people, and whoever want to come will come. Whoever want to join me will join me. You know what I mean? But I don't harp on discrimination and negativity because I know that at the end of the day I have to make a way for myself. So I don't even worry about them things that too much, my virgin. I just know that it's called life, it's called liberty, and no one really cares. And the worst part about it is a lot of times your own people don't even show you the appreciation. So why am I if you know?
Good note to take a break on. Let's take a quick break.
All right.
Catch a fire, you can get burned.
This is one of my favorite tunes, and there are many, but I want you guys to listen to this during the break. And for those of you who are in areas with slow internet connection, roll your mouse over the video and you can choose a different frequency. It's 360 if it's very slow.
I remember on the slave ship how they brutalized our soul. Today they say we're free, only to be chained in poverty. Good God, it's illiteracy. Only a machine make money. Slave driver, table is turned. Catch a fire so you can get burned. Slave driver, tables turn. Catch a fire, 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 you're gonna get burned. See, every time I hear a crack of a whip, my blood runs cold. See, I remember on the slave ship how they brutalized our soul. Today they say we're free, only to be chained in poverty. Good God, it's illiteracy. Only a machine make money.
Sorry guys, I hate to cut that music off. I mean, I got caught up just listening to it. Steele, wow.
Yes, brother.
Wow. But
Wow.
let-
Thanks for the vote of approval,
You
boss.
know, yes, yes. Wow. DSACCB in the in chat room said, Fongshi believes in me. Thanks. He's very funny. And Esther said, LAMO at the chicken.
So,
And DSACCB said, do you tour musically internationally on your own or with a group? Quick, quick answer because we got a lot of questions. Quick answer.
quick answer. I'm still waiting on my first organized tour. I do a lot of individual shows, but as far as a tour, no, I haven't gone on a an organized tour. I just do individual shows. But listen, I'm always open. So if you can make it happen, let's make it happen.
Wonderful. Esther said, I really admire your frankness, Steele, and the positive vibes you send out. Great song, too. Esther, I agree with you on that.
Love
Steele,
my sister.
it is said that you are captivating in the handling of R&B material, as with soul, reggae, classical, and jazz. You could have chosen any genre of music. Why reggae?
Well, I think reggae speaks. Reggae is a music that the world loves and appreciates. And I think what reggae does, reggae can meet our facets, our walk of life. Everybody can see it. Sometimes when you sing one particular genre, say for example jazz, you tend to just cover one sector and your market seems to be very limited. With reggae now, just because the message that it sends out, and add the beat to it, what I mean, it makes you happy, it makes you sad, it makes you mad. So it's a music that everybody can appreciate, and that's why I love it. Plus, it's my culture. That's what I grew up with, and that's what I truly love.
You talked about the chicken and working hard in school to get good grades so you can get a piece of the chicken and not the back and the neck and the wing. What do you like most about your Jamaican heritage?
Well, you know what? I think when it comes down to Jamaica, I just think we're very warm people.
Mm-hmm.
We're very warm people. At the same time, I like the fact that people don't take us for granted. You know, if there's two things I can say, we're very warm, very welcoming. We love you if you love we. We don't care what race, what creed. We don't care where you're from. We accept you and we love you. Just don't take we for granted, because as much as we love you, we can turn against you. And I just love that about my culture.
How do you balance all the demands of music with being a father and husband?
Well, one thing I learned in the country, my brethren, a long time ago, that at the end of the day, the bills has to be paid.
Uh-huh.
And as much as I love the music and I'm involved with it, most times, I did also go out and get myself qualified to do something else. And that's where an influence like Ray Macmillan comes in. And he's a personal friend of mine. And I got myself qualified. I spent 17 years working in sales at the Brick, which is one of the biggest for sales. But after I got tired of that, I got into mortgages. So as much as I'm talking to you from a musical aspect, my brethren, I'm also a qualified, certified mortgage agent. And Ray Macmillan has been one of them influence. That brethren has taught me so much and continues to do that. Now, as far as being a father, it goes back to the whole thing. I have to still make sure, my brethren, that when I come into this house, all the bills are paid first and foremost. But as a father, I have to make sure that I give direction, balance for my children. How do I balance it, my brethren? Somebody said to me, and a lot of times people say to me, Steele, you should get up and you should go to Jamaica, you should move here and move there. And I said, I cannot. If I can't make it for where I've chosen to be my home, then I'm not going to make it, because I do have young children and I have an older child, and I've watched them grow, and I've watched the influence that I've had on them. And, I have to show them love and affection and attention, especially boy picnic. Because and I'm not saying that, a child can't grow up with one parent, but, I just feel like it's it makes a lot more sense to be there as two parents. You know what I mean? And I've made sure, and it's part of my responsibility to be there for my children. That's why I haven't taken off and gone to live in Jamaica. Now I could probably be further ahead in the music, but that is this sacrifice that I've chosen to take. I am a father first. I love my picking them, but they're so important to me, and the balance has to be there. I come home every night. If I'm out of the city, I call to make sure they're all right, and most importantly, I make sure that I help to provide for them.
Um, with such a busy schedule, when you have time, and I'm asking this question because, and I'm glad you mentioned this, that even though you love the music, you still went out and get yourself certified, and hail up to that brother you mentioned, is a close friend of mine too, Ray Macmillan.
Right.
When you have time to read,
When do I have time to read?
when you have time, I mean, what might you be inclined to pick up? Novel, newspaper, or magazine?
Well, I've never been asked that question, and I love it. I love it. Suppose I tell you something, Selwyn. I, I tend to read when I really don't read as much as I should. And I'm not even going to lie to you. I really don't read as much as I should. If I hear about, a particular story, if I'm on the street or I hear about I like to go research stuff, but I find that I find more interest in researching stuff that, that's appealing to me. But as far as getting up to actually take up a book or a novel or an article to read, I truly don't do that. I get much more my influence from just listening to people talking and getting the gossip.
Yeah.
Other people call me with them problems, my brethren.
Who are some of your favorite artists today?
Well, right now, I can tell you, brethren, and I wish to the Almighty that, I still stay as focused as this man. And Beres Hammond happens to be
My boy.
one of my favorite artists right now. I tell you, I don't know if that man can do it wrong, and the longevity. If I can stay as long as in the business and it can remain as current as Beres Hammond, then I'm good, my brethren.
Beres.
Beres, man, I can't even lie to you.
Still, I listened to Slave Driver,
Right.
which I just played, and the melody is still in my head. I mean, I really love it. The music arrangement, the melody, and is that a flute in the background?
Is that what?
A flute in the background.
That's a flute.
Right.
That's a flute.
Do you remember what space you were in? And I'm going to shift a little bit. What space you were in spiritually when you decided to sing that song?
Suppose I tell you something, my brethren. And again, some people know it, you don't. My producer that I've worked with for the last 3 albums, okay, is from Guyana.
What?
Okay.
Say it again.
My producer, my musical producer that I've worked with for the last 3 albums is from Guyana.
What's his name?
His name is Ernie Trelfall.
You got it.
Okay? And he was a pan man. He played steel pan and all of that stuff. But I tell you something. If you go in Ernie's studio, you see all the accolades as far as the certificates and all of that stuff from your institutions in Guyana. And here's why I'm bringing this up, my brethren. Here's why I'm bringing this up. This song, Slave Driver, came about when one of my brethren that I used to work on the radio station, King David, said to me, he actually gave me the reggae version because it's a Bob Marley original. And he said, brethren, I don't think, as much as the Bob Marley's version is nice, I think it could be great. And I think if you slow down this song and make it your own, people will actually appreciate it even some more. And I kind of dodged around it for a little bit until I actually sent it to Ernie, and I sent it to Ernie and I go, yo, what do you think about this? And he goes, yo, Steele, I love this. So I said, you really love it? He said, yeah. So we went in the studio, me and Ernie, and we sat down and we started producing this track, and we were trying to come up with the best way of doing it. And I said, Ernie, I think this song should be soulful. And he says, yeah, I can feel it. And we together, me, Ernie, and my brethren King David, we sat down, brethren, and we brainstormed what it should be, what the melodies line should be. And the flute, it said, when we were almost done, we felt like there was still something missing, something to carry the song along. And we said we wanted something to bring out the seriousness of the song, the soulfulness of the song. And Ernie Trelfall said, let's try a flute. And I go, okay, let's try it. And once I heard that flute sound coming out my brethren, I said, yo, that was it. That's it. And this song has had such a great influence. As I tell you something, you might have heard of Roger Stephan.
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't, Roger Stephan is, he's a reggae historian out of California. He has the biggest reggae archives in terms of even the Bob. He was Bob Marley's photographer for years, and he has the biggest reggae archives. And I sent it to Roger Stephan, this same slave driver. And Roger Stephan contacted me and said, Steele, your version of Slave Driver is what I used to use up until about last year whenever I went on the road to do demonstrations of my artwork. So this song has been very powerful. And this flute, my brother, stood out that time, continues to stand out. So I have to make sure I bless up Ernie every time. And if there's Guyanese people out of West Indian listening right now, I want you to know, because this is something I preach all the while. Not because reggae is the biggest factor in Jamaica. Great reggae musicians or world musicians still live out of Jamaica. And this is a typical example of what's going on.
Hold that thought right there.
Right.
Blood runs cold. See, I remember on the slave ship how they brutalized us all. Today they say we're free, only to be chained in poverty. Good God, it's illiteracy. Only a machine make money.
All right. I gotta be a little disciplined and stop my indulgence. Do you have a favorite song?
Wow, my favorite song. I can tell you, I don't think I have a favorite song right now. I know growing up, one of my favorite song. Remember we spoke about Lionel Richie. My favorite song was Truly in Love with You. And, that song again, and I guess that's the time I felt for the first time that I found somebody I was in love with. Back in high school, it's call it puppy love, call it what it is, but it felt good at the time. and Lionel Richie was the influence at that time. Now, do I have a favorite song? Not really, but this song, Another Confrontation, has caused a lot of controversy around me.
Oh yeah.
So, it's one of my favorite songs just because I've had to answer and I had to plead the fifth so much times regarding this song, Another Confrontation.
I'll try to play it in the next break, but let me just go to the chat room. Ori Ray said, Steele, your music sounds good. Do you have any show planned in New York City area?
New York City, the last time I was in New York was for the Irish Jamboree. I actually did that show a couple years ago. So the answer to that is currently no. Again, I say, if there's anything going on that I could be a part of, just reach out to me. It's no problem. One of the greatest things, it seems like when you're in other cities, the influences are different. So what I do need to do, and I can't blame anybody, but what my friends are like, the person in the chat room could do is make sure that they request the music on the radio in New York, because I know those guys, I know DJ Roy, I know all of them on the radio station. They've played my music before. So, but as far as currently, there's not a show plan. But hey, I would love to be in New York again to share the vibe.
I'm gonna say something now, right? For the next couple of shows or next several shows, I'll be playing some of your music.
Thanks,
right?
bro.
When people think of reggae, they usually think Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, Gregory Isaacs, peace, and conscious lyrics.
Right.
How do you, Steele, define reggae, and what does it mean to you?
Well, again, with different facets of reggae music, because there's lovers rock.
Right.
There is the conscious element of reggae. And, there's still a discussion as far as the separation, if dancehall should be classified as reggae or dancehall should be classified as dancehall. Now, when I see, let's call it for the sake of this conversation, reggae, let's put them all under one umbrella. Mm-hmm. I see reggae as a music that influenced different people in different ways. You know what I mean? Lovers rock make you fall in love, fall out of love, get miserable, cuss somebody, want to beat up somebody. The conscious element of it makes you think, makes you want to reorganize, makes you want to protest, makes you want to analyze. Now, as far as the dancehall, makes you makes you want to misbehave, you know what I mean, and interpret misbehavior, you know, in any way you want to. Makes you want to laugh, makes you want to party, makes you want to have a good time. So the biggest influence I can say is reggae is a genre that brings out the best and the worst, you know, out of anybody. And for that reason, it's very global, and you know, it stimulates the mind, and I just love it.
Apart from being a successful musician, you're also an accomplished musician, songwriter, and producer.
Right.
In which area are you most comfortable?
Well, I think in all of them, I'm comfortable writing lyrics, you know, and I'm also comfortable singing. My best comfort level is performing. I love the stage, you know, but I love to take a conversation and make it into a lyrical content. I don't like writing stuff that has no meaning or
Right.
has no substance. And you know, so even if it has to come in the form of you know, being comical, people laugh with it, cool, no problem. But it should mean something, because that's the only way the longevity is gonna be you know, instilled in the writing. The singing, I love expressing myself, you know. But first and foremost, I see myself as a performer, entertainer. I don't see myself as just a singer. I see myself as a performer, because I feel like when I go on stage, people are there to see more than, or to see more than you just singing a song. They want to see a show. They want to see a full package. So I love the stage, and I love to interact with people and bring out the best. So those are the categories that is most comfortable to me.
Do you do you 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 have a reputation for being professional in your approach to music. Can you
Yeah.
tell us why this is so important to you?
Well, I think if you approach it like that, people respect you. You know what I mean? You know, I think, you know, what one of the biggest stigmas that was back in the days, I really don't know if it's still, you know, that way, but one of the biggest flat that reggae artists used to get, and it's not just reggae artists, to be honest with you, was, you know, first of all, not showing up for time, not showing up on time for your gigs and all of that stuff, or no shows, or taking people's money and don't show up. You know, I don't do those things. You know, I've been cultured differently. I've been very disciplined in my approach, because you don't get respect in the business, you have to earn it. You know, and in life you don't get respect. People think they get respect because they're bosses. Bosses don't get respect from me, you know. I don't care. They have to earn it. So if you want my respect, you have to earn it. So what I try to do, I try to show people respect so I can earn their respect. That's why I'm disciplined. You know,
Um,
in my approach, I'm very disciplined in that respect.
Still, what time of the night or morning? I write, and early in the morning I get my inspiration. What time do you get your inspiration? What time of the day?
The brethren, it can flow anytime, but it seems nowadays, I think the older I get is more when I go to bed, because I can't, I can't sleep at night. So I find myself, I'll be laying in bed, and you know, I can't, because there's so much things going through my mind, and I have to get up, I have to come back, I have to write something down, I have to put this little tape on, I have to drop down an idea. So I'd probably say, you know, after midnight, it's a fair time. Plus my kids are gone to sleep, so them not bug my head or stress me no more. You know? So I would say, you know, anytime after midnight is a good time, because, you know, I heard Damien Dash some time ago say that a hustler doesn't sleep. That's kind of the mentality I have. If I feel to do something, I'll get up and do it. That's
Yes,
the way I
yes.
am.
Do you feel any pressure to conform to any standard or interpretation of reggae?
No, because
Oh.
to be yourself, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be yourself, and you have to be recognized for who you are as a person. And if you try to be, you know, who you are not, then you're not going to fit in. I can never be a dancehall artist. I didn't grow up in the dancehall. You can't fake being dancehall. Dancehall has to be a liberty.
Well, you
I
know,
grew up among influences like the lovers rock and the conscious element. You know what I mean? The ladies mean a lot to me, you know, and it's always been that way, you know. And it's not saying that I'm misbehaving. It just pretty much means matters at the heart have always been important to me. Also the conscious element. So that's kind of my thing. I have to be true to what I believe in, and that's why I stick to those elements.
I want to take a quick break, right? And
Uh,
it has to be quick because what I'm realizing here is that this conversation is very exciting. I have a lot of questions for you. I might
Yeah.
even beg you to go a little bit over 10. Um, who pushes you when you feel like when you don't feel like taking the next step or you feel burnt out? Who pushes you?
Well, I can tell you something. For the past 18 or 19 years, I have
Mm.
had a special lady in my life, and I'm not afraid to talk about it. And it's just like me wearing my ring on stage. A lot of people have said to me, "Steve, how comes you wear a ring on stage?" Because I'm not afraid, for people to know that I'm involved. And she has been one of the greatest influence on my life because she supports what I do. And I think if I was to give credit to somebody, I would have to say, this very important lady in my life, my virgin, because I give her the ultimate credit and the ultimate respect. And it's not just from a musical aspect. It's just from just being around me and just being in my life. I totally.
You know something, Steele. This is the first time I'm gonna say. I like lyrics. I write a lot. I like words, and we have a very large female audience. And
Yeah,
I'm gonna use your name here right now, Steele.
yeah.
You're gonna steal a lot of hearts here tonight. But
Well, Selma, this keeps me out of trouble too.
okay.
Because here's what, if I don't tell it like it is, I can get trouble. So I prefer to tell it as it is, and I have always said, approach with caution.
Approach with Steele.
Yeah, but I say approach with caution because it is what it is.
Another confrontation between my wife and myself. Oh, yeah. Now how the hell me going get out of this one? Another problem again. The wife asks if there's another woman, or is she just a friend? In the back of my mind, I knew I wasn't guilty of anything. But we all know woman intuition, so I probably won't win. I said,
We are back with the man of steel. Stealing all the hearts here tonight. Wonderful,
Oh,
my
man.
brother. um, in the chat room, Carol asked, and I think you may have answered this question before, do you do dancehall? And then Carol asks again, can you describe your sound?
Can I describe myself?
Your sound. Your sound.
Oh, my song. Oh, okay. Um, yeah, I mean, like I said, my personal favorite is, or my personal style or taste is lovers rock and the conscious element. And my song motivates, but my song pretty much deals with matters of the heart. And it could be, a lovers rock, or it could be some conscious music, but something that you can actually penetrate, and learn from and heal from, cry to, be sad to, laugh to. But at the end of the day, it should be meaningful. That's my songs.
And Rosina or Roina asked, why reggae and not contemporary gospel?
Wow, wow. I have not. I believe in expressions, and if you listen to my lyrical content, they're not disrespectful, they're not degrading, and the fact that it's reggae influence in terms of the beat doesn't mean they're not spiritual. I think what she's trying to ask me, why don't I say Christ or Jesus or stuff like that? I feel like my music influences everybody because I have songs like God That I Serve, that they played in church, they do all of that stuff. So I don't think I've strayed away from the spiritual element, so to speak. Now, why don't I necessarily go into a church and minister? I don't believe that I should make. I'm very disciplined like that again, and I tell you, I do record for songs, but I've always felt like, and if you were to see one of my shows, you'll understand what I mean. I really get down when I perform, and I've always said it's hard to justify being on the stage Saturday night, working up my body, and then Sunday morning calling altar service. you
Still,
know, so we kind of woke up Saturday night and Sunday I am, trying to save souls for the kingdom. So what I do, I keep my song as spiritual as I possibly can. Don't have the derogatory lyrics, and I mean, but pray for me, sister. Pray for me.
are there any trends in the industry that you embrace or that you'd rather not have emerged?
Well, in I think I see what is happening right now. I mean, let's start with the pop culture or pop music for example. It's the trend now is more fad more than than substance. If you have a good appeal, if you have a good marketing team behind you, if you have it has nothing to do with substance. The best singers are not necessarily the best. The are not necessarily the most popular. Or the artists that make it, just because it's so commercially influenced. So that it's not a new thing. It's been around for years and years. But I've seen in a lot of the culture, even in reggae music, where you have some of the artists with some of the greatest minds and the greatest lyrical content, but just because they don't have the financial push behind them, because at the end of the day, it's music business. So if you don't have that aspect of you, a lot of artists have gone by the wayside unnoticed.
Yeah.
So how do we change that? I don't know how we're gonna change that, but it's gotten worse and worse and worse and worse. Where pop cultures change the whole thing. If you have something to sell other than your musical ability, then you get by. You
Uh,
know, that's just the way it is, and that I don't like too much.
you performed a lot,
I do.
you know, and so what is one performance that took even your breath away? You're performing, you're on stage, and you're like, wow, is this really me?
Yeah, I would have to say it's Jambana. We 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 have we have a show. We have a festival here. It's right around. It's around August 5th, around Jamaican Independence, and it's called Jambana, and I can honestly say it's probably the biggest cultural festival right after Caribana. So there's a lot of people in Toronto City.
Right.
So Jambana, on a yearly basis attracts approximately 35,000 to 50,000 people. Okay, and when I hit the stage on Jambana, they call me Mr. Jambana because I don't think I've missed one yet. Because I've been doing it from it was called Ear Maker Day, but just to see the reaction from the people and the influence and just the vibe they give me, I always have to thank the Almighty because I remember where I'm coming from to where I am now, and it's always humbling, just to see the growth and development. But that show every year brings it out so much more, my brethren.
Got you.
And
Uh,
I just feel very comfortable on Jambana.
what can you tell us about Steele that most people don't know that would surprise us?
Well, I can tell you this. I am involved in one particular charity that I try to do almost every year, and I don't talk about it much because I do it, and pretty much every year I coordinate with a sister from Clarendon, not my sister, just her sister is in, she's Jamaica, but I try to send a barrel down. If I can do it myself, I try to get the barrel filled for the kids in that community every Christmas, and it's very important to me because at the same time, we are still fortunate. Even if we think that we are not, we're still fortunate. And a lot of kids, not just in Jamaica, but if we can share, even from our community that we come from or your community that you're from. So every year I try to do that or influence this barrel going down to Jamaica with the toys. And I love that, and it's dear to me. And sometimes even when I can't afford to do it, I try to get friends of mine who at the time may be in a position to do it, just to do it because it's important to me. also, my brethren, I love people. And at the end of the day, I see myself as a vessel of the people. It's not that surprising, but I don't see myself as nothing more than a vessel of the people. I don't take it for granted. I don't feel I'm a star, I'm a super. I see myself as Mark Steele, this little youth from Lucy, Hanover, Jamaica, who grew up in a boardhouse outside toilet. you know,
Steele.
that's me, Reggie.
Let me go to the chat room.
Yeah.
Rita said, "How would you ask? How would you describe your music style? Can you do that in like quickly? You know, how would you describe your music style?
Global.
Global.
Music,
Good.
music that's global.
I like that." St.
Yeah.
Lucius Summer Property asked, What would your suggestions? What suggestion you would have to offer for new artists to get into the spotlight? What are some of the tips and draw areas one should stay away from?"
Well, look, I've always said let's start let's look at the big picture. Let's talk about record companies on a whole, and I'll tell you what the tip I offer. Record companies nowadays don't sign artists until the artist is recognized themselves. So draw from that what you make. I say to every artist, do not sit and depend on somebody to do the work for you. Understand that it's a business. Understand that your job has only begun when you leave the studio. A lot of artists feel like once they've made the record, that's it. Your job has only begun. Market that music as much as you possibly can. Do not put an album out until at least one song has penetrated even your immediate market space. You know what I mean? Do not give up. But take criticism and learn from criticism. Don't think you're bigger than criticism. Take criticisms and learn from it.
JL asks, "How long have you been in the music business?"
Well, it's been a journey, over 20 years.
Over 20. And DSACCB said you should not. You should get connected with a Jamaican/Houston organization. They are quite active. Have several shows. That is Jaga Reggae Fest, Ja Foundation of Houston, P.O. Box 710-824, Houston, Texas 77271. You can always go back to the chat room when after the show and get this. And
I can also tell the person in the chat room if and Selwyn knows this. You can always send me a message on Facebook, Steele Mobs, SteeleMobs, because those are good things to know. You can send me an email, mobsproduction@rogers.com, mobsproduction@rogers.com. So I'd love to get that information. So send it to me again via, either Selwyn knows how to get in touch with me, or on Facebook at Steele Mobs, Steele. Send me a message. I'll respond to you, and I'll look into it. I'll get my people to look into it most definitely.
Steele, I want to go a little rapid fire because I got some questions here and time is on us, right?
Reggie, I thought you had 10 hours. What's going on, Reggie?
All right.
I told you I was comfortable to talk with all night,
Oh. Man, don't make me laugh. What does it mean to have shared the stage with the likes of Freddie McGregor, Rita Marley, Tony Rebel, Sanchez, Luciano, and Queen Ifrica?
It means confidence. It means humility, because those are people that I grew up with, I grew up, listening to, or admire. Rita Marley, don't get it twisted. That's the wife of Bob Marley right there. That's the legend. That's the legend's wife. So you're on a stage with Rita Marley. Something good is happening for you.
Yes.
Freddie McGregor has always been, again, an artist I admire. He's actually he's a very good friend of mine. We talk a lot on the phone. Tony Rebel is the same thing. Queen Ifrica is the same thing. And I, speaking of Tony Rebel, I was blessed to be invited on the show 2 times, Rebel Salute. And I met, after reaching out to Tony for a couple of years, he actually came to Toronto, and we were on the same show together, and he watched me perform, and he came to me and said, "Steele, I want you on Rebel Salute." And I did it, and the people loved it, and they invited me the next year. So, he has been a part of my life, and all these people I still keep in connection with. So it's a good thing, but it meant to me recognition. People seeing me in a different light, and it has been a great influence.
In 2004, you released Uncorrupted,
Right.
and many of its tracks hit the charts globally and in Canada. Was that your first CD, Steele? And what was it like when you realized your song was a hit?
Well, yeah, that was my actual first solo project, and I tell you something, you know, when you start in phone calls from Soundman, for dub plays, then you know you're doing something right. You know what I mean? And when radio starts to call you for radio jobs and all of that stuff, you're doing something right. So I remember starting to get those phone calls, and I still like, wow, something good is happening. You know what I mean? But then I started getting the reports from Italy, and other places that still, tracks off your CD is actually on our charts, and I'm like, this is great. I'm staying in Canada and I'm doing this to the world, and that's why I always say from Jamaica to Canada to the world. So it was a great feeling then, and it continues to be a great feeling now. And I'm just blessed to be able to continue my growth and development in the business.
Where do you draw most of your inspiration?
Just things that are around me, Bridget. I'll find a friend that tells me a joke or tell me a story, and that's influence right there. I'll turn my TV on, and I'll see something that I don't necessarily like or appreciate. Even within my own community, and it has to do with my people, and I write about it. Well, the world affairs. So my inspiration can come from anywhere. It doesn't come from one source. Just whatever happens at the time that I feel like is relevant to talk about. I sit and write about.
I remember, and this just I'm just going to shift gears a little bit here. I remember when we first spoke, and your daughter was trying to get your attention, and you said to me, Selwyn, look, I gotta handle this. I'll call you back just now. Because when you came back, you had me cracking up because you mentioned to me the reason why it was so important for you to attend to her. How you describe it, the face? What was?
She shows you the face. I went. You see, Selwyn, my 9-year-old daughter runs my life. Bridget, she runs my life. There's no two ways around it. She calls me, I listen, because once she make up the face, and she start telling what you're doing from what you're not doing, you're better off. She don't make you forget, and she bugs you, and she bugs you, and she bugs you. So, Selwyn, remember that night you called and said, let me just deal with this because I wouldn't hear the last of it. And she make up, and people with can know what I'm talking about. They give you that face, my brain.
So the face has a lot of power, huh?
It has more than a lot. It has all the power. But I love her to death, man. And my 10-year-old son, he just follows everything that she says because more than likely she's gonna get something. So he tries to just influence her to do stuff because she knows that more than likely she will get away. But man, these kids are so important. I love them, man, Bridget. So, that's why I couldn't keep a conversation that night because I know Bridget, she would be standing beside me, looking and giving me the crazy look. I would feel so guilty.
Oh gosh!
Good,
In 2007, you released "The Love of Jah,"
yeah.
which many said was your very best work to date. Is this an accurate statement?
This is an actual statement, and I tell you, in 2007, I mean that was what is it? My third CD or my second CD? I can't. Second one. But what happened is, it just showed me growth because it came from Uncorrupted when my first effort, and the production got better, and I still think the production has gotten better. So people said, okay, it was my greatest work to date based on stuff before, but now they're growing with me as the musical journey continues, and myself and my producer, are getting, greater and greater at working together. On top of that, now I'm doing a lot of work with producers out of Jamaica. There's Light Campbell, another confrontation was done for that. I'm working also with Computer Paul out of Jamaica. So now the producers from all over now are actually wanting to have my vibes on their material. So 2007, when that was said. It was then. It has grown and it continues to grow. And I just have to give again the people thanks for their love and support and give the Almighty thanks. You know.
Demand the Music,
Yeah.
2009 release. When you received the awards from the RMAA,
Yeah. Reggae music.
what is it? Reggae music? What?
Reggae Music Achievement Award.
What comes to mind when you think about Demand the Music?
Just again talks about my growth. You know
Okay.
where I've been, the recognition that I'm getting now, and the influences. You know, and I think that song again because the amount of awards that I got for that album again showed the journey and the growth and the development. And I'm gonna tell people to go on iTunes because these albums are actually on iTunes. So if you go into iTunes and check out Steele Demand the Music or my latest, Reality is my latest CD. I can't even remember saying there's so much music, but the Man and the Music came out, 2009. Then after that is Reality. But if you go on iTunes, they're there, so you can always pick them up.
Can you tell us what inspired Jai Is My Strength?
Just yeah, my wife, and just something I was going through at time in my life. It was one of those downtime periods, Bridget, when I felt like what I want to accomplish wasn't happening fast enough. And I remember just being around here and just feeling down the bridge. And I remember my wife calling me in the basement, and she goes to me, she don't call me Steele, she called me Mark because my name is Mark. She goes, Mark, tell me what you think of these lyrics. And I started reading the lyrics. If Jah is my strength and salvation, then who shall I fear? If I'm tempted and it just goes on and goes on, and I'm reading the lyrics and I'm going, wow. And that has been my strength, Virgin, up to today.
Mark,
The funniest thing is we went in the studio and we recorded it, brought it home to my wife. That song got so popular, and you know what, Selwyn? My wife still don't like the way I sing that song. Selwyn, my wife still turns around and said to me, I could have sung the song better. And I go, Steele, I go, everybody loves that song. I go, yeah, but she goes, there's something that's still missing. And I'm going, I still can't please you. But that song...
Give us a verse, Steele. I'm putting you on the spot right now. Give us a verse.
Yeah. Say that again. I didn't
give us a verse in that song.
Definitely. If just my strength and salvation, then whom shall I fear? If I'm tempted and snared by transgression, I know he'll steer me clear. And if I should ever lose my direction, I'll keep Zion on my mind, although I've been told doors may close, still others open sometimes, and even the roughest among us need a little bit of prayer sometimes, and even the toughest among us goes through uncertain times. We have to take some time to find out what life is really like. It's so amazing. You've got to try. Don't lie. That's just a part of it, Bridget.
Steele. All right, buddy.
That's my inspiration, Bridget.
I like that. Live and direct. What kind of music you want to tell with your songs?
Well, say it again, my Bridget.
What kind of music you want to tell with your songs?
Well, I think the music and the message I pretty much want to tell is don't ever give up. No matter what the situation, don't ever give up. There's going to be times when you're going to be down. It could be in a relationship and it could be in your finances. Don't ever give up, because I always say when you think you have problems, there's somebody that has a bigger burden than you.
I believe
so count your blessings.
Believe that.
Everything you do, count your blessings, because life could be worse,
If you were to put a CD of mixed artists together,
Yeah.
Who are some names that readily come to mind?
Well, Barris, of course, would be
Mm-hmm.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob Miller would be there.
Mm.
Yeah, Tony Rebel would be there.
Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah, I love Tony Rebel. Uh, and some of the new artists out of Jamaica, I Romain Virgo. I like what that artist is doing right now, and there's a there's so many artists, so much to think about, but some of those artists were there, and for right in Toronto here, there's an artist that's growing from strength to strength. His name is Esco Levi, and I like what he does too. So those are some of the artists that I definitely put on a compilation.
Who are some female artists you admire?
Well, I love Marcia Griffiths.
Mm-hmm.
I love Queen Africa, man. I love Queen Africa. Brethren, I gotta tell you that I think Queen Africa is my favorite female artist.
Really?
Yeah, we actually see you played a song earlier on, and people can check the YouTube because we actually did the remix version of New World Order. So if you go, they can check it out. Queen Africa and Steele, New World Order remix. And that song has gotten, it's almost about 80,000 hits now on YouTube. That song. So I love that woman, man. She tells it like it is, man. You don't have to necessarily agree with her, but she says what's on her mind.
Steele,
Yes, my brother.
with all your accomplishments,
Yeah.
and there were many, what still surprises you about yourself?
Well, I don't even know if I'm surprised, but I think it's just because I was brought up very humble, Virgin.
Mm-hmm.
I still walk on the street, talk on the street. I still do regular things. I'm just a regular man, Brid. I go into the parties and dance and have fun just like everybody else. I don't see myself as no star. I see myself as just a vessel. And it's not surprising, Virgin. This is something, that's the way I grew up. I didn't grow with gold spoon in my mouth, so I appreciate people and thankful for the love and the support they continue to give me. And I don't take it for granted, my brethren.
Love that. In the chat room, the SACCB said, consider it done. And I guess this relates to sending you the information and so on.
And they can also check out, just for George Nooks. George Nooks, What's Wrong With Me? George Nooks and myself has a song as What's Wrong With Me. And Slave Driver video is on YouTube too. So, sorry, but they're all there.
And Roina asked, which one of your album is the best?
The one that you love the most is the best.
I like that. you're a smooth man, Steele. DSACCB said Esther was right. Cell is quite animated tonight. Lion on the rise. Queen Africa. And DSACB, I'm gonna get you for that. And DSACB said Lioness on the rise. Queen Africa. What would you say is your greatest contribution to reggae music thus far, Steele?
Well, I would have to definitely say I think I've overcome the odds, or I continue to overcome the odds. When I came to this country, a lot of people who were here before me, doing reggae music actually moved back to Jamaica. Some of them have made it. Like Leroy Sibbles is one that used to live here. But there's also a lot of artists who has not made it. I have stayed here, my brethren, and I've seen my thing grown on a global stage. And I have to say that with myself, I feel like I've accomplished, something. When people say to me it couldn't happen, I see myself, I have local fans, I have fans globally, and to me that's an accomplishment, because don't tell me I can't do something. I'm going to be more motivated to do it. And I stayed there, brethren, and it's still growing. Because there's still a lot of markets to develop. But for what is happening right now, I have to give thanks for all the blessings. And I've done it just living in Toronto, Canada.
Have we seen the best of Steele yet?
The best is yet to come, brethren. I'm always learning. I'm always, up for suggestions. I'm always up for criticism. You haven't seen nothing yet, my brethren.
I like that.
God spare my life. There's so much more to come.
What do you hope reggae will do for humanity?
Well, I hope that the lyrical content. I hope that it can really influence us to just draw close to each other more and stop the racisms and different isms and schisms. I just hope that reggae will unite the world. It has been doing that, so far, but I think, greater emphasis has to be put on promoting the reggae music that influences, and I think it could do greater works, Virgin, globally, and humanity will benefit from it. And I speak of reggae just because it's my main genre, but music on a whole, my Virgin, as long as it's positive, it's a great influence.
Well, what story your mother always tells about you?
I think the last time she tried to beat me.
Yeah. You want to give us 30 seconds of that story, Steele?
Well, I think I was about 13 or 14, my virgin, and I started to gain little muscles. Not like I have enough now, but I think it was talking to me and I was back chatting her. You know what back chatting means?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. And I should take up a piece of broomstick, my brethren, and try to give me the some licks with it, because them the time parents don't care what them lick you with. And I hold on to one of her hand and the broomstick, and I put her to sit on the bed. You know? So she was dying with laugh, Bridget. I think after that she realized, I can't lick this boy no more, a big man now. So she tells people that story. God bless her, so she's passed away now.
Yes, my
But
condolences.
yeah, but that I remember.
Is there a song you'd rather not sing again?
Wow, is there a song I'd rather not sing again? Well, I did a song when I just started out. One and more. I was trying that out, and I did a song called Wall Your Corner. And I took it at the radio station, and my brother King David at the time was 3 o'clock in the morning because nobody else was playing my music on here. Nobody else knew me or welcomed me yet. But King David took a chance, and and when after the show was done, and after a couple months now, was telling me that, Virgin, I hate that song. And I never did visit that song again, and I can understand why, and I would never ever do that song again. Hold your corner, little boy.
Hold your corner, little boy.
Don't even ask me to do it, because I'm not.
No, I'm not gonna do that, Steve. Do you have any hobbies?
Yeah, man, I love playing soccer.
Soccer.
I love playing soccer. But I love watching TV. Bridget, believe it or not, I love Home and Garden, HGTV. And I have to confess, I like Duck Dynasty too.
Duck Dynasty? What?
Yeah, it's a show on TV. I don't know if you guys get in New York, you might, but that's one of my habits, man. I just sit down and chill. I don't even listen to music that much, unless I have to.
Wow.
Yeah, but I love playing soccer, man. I go to the gym and try work out and play soccer.
If you had the chance to go back in time, what would you tell that 10-year-old boy singing in the choir?
Man, you come up with the greatest questions. I don't even, wow. If I would tell that 10-year-old child, I would probably, what would I say? I probably would have said, whoa, I've never been asked a question. What would I, Selwyn, I'm stuck, man. What would I tell that 10-year-old child? I can't answer that question, Selwyn.
You can't answer that question.
Brethren, that's a great. I've never even thought of. What would I tell that 10-year-old child?
With all that
I don't think there's much I would change, Brethren, because I wasn't a misbehaving child. Well, that much I trouble with not that much, but I really don't know if I would change anything, Selwyn. I really can't say. I can't say. That's a great question. I have to think about that. Man, it's just, brethren, this has never happened to me.
That's how, my brethren. That's okay. That is okay.
Wow. What would I tell that 10-year-old child? Because I did listen to my parents. Well, for most of the time, I really don't know how much I would change, Selwyn.
What about study harder? That chicken is waiting.
You know what? That it wouldn't even be that, because I tell you something. Most of the times I got the chicken, and it showed in my studies, because I left high school, with 5 O levels.
Right.
I went to college and I came up with LCC certificate. So I didn't leave high school as a bum. all the subjects I took, as far as certificate subjects that I was supposed to, I did take them and I passed them. And that was the 5 subjects. So I have all these certificates sitting on, and I went to college after that, and I did get those certificates too. So, the educational part that I took, I can't regret it. It's just that I think I had my mind set up on doing music because that was my love. But as far as the academics, I can't say I regret it because, I did what I had to do back then. So I got what I set out to do, and my parents were pleased.
I have an idea.
Yeah,
Maybe that question that stumped you.
yeah.
Maybe you could turn it into a song.
I'm telling you, bro. Don't be surprised if I call you and tell you to check the song out.
Wonderful. What's
Wow.
huh?
No, Selwyn, I tell you, man, this is great. I have never been asked a question like this before, and I love it, man. I love it.
What's next for Steele?
Well, just keep growing from strength to strength. You know, there's a new song that just came out. It's on the Double Trouble rhythm, produced by Computer Paul. Again, if you go on iTunes, you can get it. And I'm still producing. I have a couple rhythms that again producers have sent to me. So again, I'm just gonna keep growing from strength to strength, and hopefully all those marketplaces that I haven't gone to yet, or have that influence on. Hopefully, I can make the connections, and some of your listeners can make those connections for me, and just keep spreading my music, and hopefully I can be an influence in somebody else's life, and just keep going from strength to strength. My intention is to get into Europe sometime next year. Just keep growing my music, man.
And the question I ask every one of my guests:
Yeah.
what makes you laugh out loud?
Wow. When it makes me laugh out loud when the ladies come up to me and just pretty much try to just to whisper things in my ears that they think I could fulfill for them. And Selwyn, you don't want to hear some of the offers I get, my virgin, but trust me, I have to laugh out loud because that's all I can do is to laugh out loud. I can't partake, so I laugh out loud.
I understand that.
There you go, bro.
I understand that. Faye in the chat room said this was a great conversation. Thanks, Selwyn and Steele. You're welcome,
Thanks,
Faye.
sis.
Steele, take us out with some words of inspiration or wisdom. You have given us many tonight, but take us out with one of those.
Well, I've always said, and it's great, and I totally believe this. Always love yourself first, because if you love yourself, you can show love to other people. Don't let nobody spoil your joy. When you think there's a problem, just think about it. There's somebody else with a greater problem. So just pray, hold your head up, and always love yourself first.
Steele, thank you so much for coming on. I enjoy the conversation. I enjoy the back and forth. As you've heard, some of my guests said, I've laughed a lot tonight, and DSACCB said I'm a little bit animated, and that's fine. I like being myself, and as long as this conversation is good and we have learned from it, I think that's important. You were very candid. I enjoy that. I enjoy the joviality and so on. I now see why you continue to draw huge crowds. You put yourself out there. You're not afraid to make fun of yourself and so on. And I really enjoy this. And as I said, I'll continue to play your music with your permission. Of course, there are copyrights issues and so on. But I will do that. That you're now a member of CWS, so I will do that as much as I can. And so I want to thank you very, very much for coming
Well,
on.
thanks you, Selwyn, and let me just say thank to you once again for taking the time out. You didn't have to do it, but you did, and I appreciate it, my brethren. So, any way I can get my music out there, my words out there is greatly appreciated. Thanks for taking the time. Thanks to your listeners for taking the time, because they could have tuned out, but they stuck around. One love. Check me out on Facebook at Steele Mob, SteeLemobs, Steele Mobs. Send me a line, drop me a line. If you want to email me, email mobsproduction@rogers.com. I love you. God love you. And every time a brethren, love yourself first.
Before you go, let me just read a few more comments that came in. Esther said, great interview. Thanks. DSACCB said, "Can we post on Facebook from YouTube? Um, can we post on can we post on Facebook from YouTube?" I think so. Wayne said, "Great job, Selwyn. He's a positive and insightful soul." And DSCB continue to say, "Can we post on Facebook from your songs from YouTube?"
Anything, tell my fans my life is an open book. Anything they want to do, go right ahead and do it.
I want to take us out with one of your songs. Let me see if I can just bear with me a second here.
All right.
Let's.
Now here is my question, and I really need an answer.
Patrick said, "Great guests, good energy, great vibes. Steele, they love you."
One love for brethren, and that's what it's all to share it, you know?
Yes, my brother.
All right, my brother, until we talk again.
Until we talk again. And I want to say this quickly.
Yeah.
I will definitely invite you back again to have another conversation.
I'd love to be here, brethren. Just say the word, I'm here, brethren. You have a fan for life, because I've never been stumped by a question and you did it tonight.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
All right, bro. We'll talk soon, man. Take
All right.
care.
And good night.
Good night, my brother.
People are so far, some try a little thing. My baby, I love you. While she lays sleeping, I stay out late at night and play my songs. And sometimes all the night can be so long. And it's good when I finally make it home, all alone, while she lays dreaming. I try to get undressed without the light. Quietly she says, "How was your night?" And I come to her and say it was alright, and I hold her tight. And she believes in me. I'll never know just what she sees in me. I told her someday, if she was my girl, I could change the world with my little song. I was wrong, but she has faith in me, and so I'll go on trying faithfully. And who knows, maybe on some special night, if my song is right, I will find a way, find a way. While she lays waiting, I stumble to the kitchen for a bite. Then I see my own guitar in the night, just waiting for me like a secret friend. And there's no end. While she lays crying, I fumble with the melody or two, and I'm torn between the things I should do. She says to wake her up when I'm through. God, her love is true. And she believes in me. I'll never know just what she sees in me. I told her someday, if she was my girl, I could change the world with my little songs. I baby.